Changing tones to our first local story, talks around the Lloydminster Place Arena project are heating up. With the location set in stone, design work is starting to get more concrete. This week, City Council saw more details on what the new facility will look like, as Jace Mackey reports.
Are we building a big enough arena? And should we be building that much bigger?
That's the question Lloydminster Mayor Gerald Albers has been hearing the most from residents discussing the new arena project. He hopes new details presented to City Council this week will help answer that question.
It's more than 2,000 seats. So there are 2,000 permanent seats in the facility. There's also going to be some retractable seats on both ends of the bowl, as it's referred to, as well as additional seating in the boxes and potential to even add more.
The main event arena is expected to have an open-ended bowl allowing for retractable seating on each end. The attached community rink is expected to have under 1,000 seats. With the new event arena's max capacity well above the civic centers, the city wants to attract major sports events like the Scotties and concerts.
From the perspective of a stage area, we're going to be seating over 4,200, including the main ground level.
Council also saw results from the city's first public engagement survey. With just over 1,500 people responding to the survey, comfortable seating was seen as a priority, with 67% of respondents saying it was very important.
We will be back at least 2 more surveys from what we heard from administration, and depending what other questions come forward, there may be a 4th survey.
City staff say Lloydminster Place will attract Tier 2 artists like Arkells or Blue Rodeo. The arena is being designed to be turned over and used for lots of purposes throughout the year.
We can't compete with the Torontos and Vancouvers, but we can do a heck of a job from being a Lloydminster in between and picking up those B-class and C-class acts and putting on a terrific facility. We've got a basic idea. I suspect soon we'll see some cost estimates, and that's where the rubber will start to hit the road.
For Primetime Local News, I'm Jace Mackey.
The Lloyd X was full of eager faces today as the first in-person job fair took place since the pandemic. The Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce hosted the event with over 50 businesses taking part. Our Nicole Gruber has a recap.
Hundreds came out to the Lloyd X today to see what job opportunities are within the community. The Chamber of Commerce partnered with 55 companies in an attempt at connecting employers with job seekers.
We were hearing from our chamber members in the business community that some businesses were having troubles recruiting employees. The goal of the event is to help our employers to recruit employees and also for job seekers, so to help people who are looking for work to find work.
Yeah, so we have quite a few trades.
Sojin hopes that people who took part can find a job from this event.
Yeah, we are really hoping that a lot of job seekers can find employment. And we were also hearing the feedback from the business community that they were looking for this type of service.
Some people are excited to see the number of opportunities available to them.
I'm just hoping to see more of my options because I'm still in school. And when I graduate, I was thinking about going to university, but if university doesn't work out, I was thinking about looking for oil field or something.
The job fair here at the Lloyd X is bustling with activity as many people took the opportunity to see what sort of jobs are available within their community. But if you happen to miss today, there will be an online event happening from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. tomorrow. And you can find more information on that at the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce website. For Primetime Local News, I'm Nicole Gruber.
Over the past few years, frontline healthcare workers have become synonymous with hospital staff. But Wednesday, a local group hosted a lunch that recognized a different kind of healthcare worker. Hosted by Lloydminster's Concerned Citizens for Seniors Care Society, the luncheon event was designed to honor frontline healthcare workers from local senior care homes.
Behind all of the seniors in this community are the people who are taking care of them, whether it's from the doctors right through to long-term care facilities.
The meal was followed by a presentation where local care homes were handed a certificate of appreciation along with donated goods from Tim Hortons and Art of Flowers.
It's been a very overwhelming couple of years for all the staff involved, all the families involved, all the residents involved, and to take recognition back to the staff is just wonderful.
There are 7 assisted living facilities in Lloydminster where hundreds of local seniors are cared for every day.
To say it's been an incredible 2 years is an understatement. There's over 100 staff at Pioneer. You know what, guys, I don't think I can do this. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Now we'll toss to Shelby Clark once again for another look at weather.
Thanks again, Tate Laycraft. Now taking another look at your weather forecast, we'll be starting off with the central zone of our provinces as usual. And on the Alberta side, we have cooled down quite a bit compared to yesterday. We are seeing those single-digit marks compared to those double-digit temperatures we were seeing. But I think we are still seeing a nice warmer day here at around the end of March that we're expecting to see. Most spots are seeing around 4 and 5 degrees on the map. 6 in Edmonton and Whitecourt and Cold Lake is looking slightly cooler, just hitting 3. Now switching over to our Saskatchewan side here, they are seeing those plus temperatures, except for Melfort, they are seeing -1 at the moment, while most spots are seeing 3 degrees, like here in the border city, and Meadow Lake is looking slightly cooler, just hitting 2. Now going over to our northern region now to see what they are sitting at. They are seeing a lot cooler temperatures compared to yesterday, of course, as well. Some spots are even at those double-digit temps, especially up in Uranium City and Stony Rapids, seeing -10, -14, -9 in Wollaston Lake, while it's -4 in South End, -3 in both Buffalo Narrows and La Loche, and La Ronge and Fouflon both sitting at -2. Now going over to this end here, they are seeing those single-digit temperatures, but they have cooled down. Except for down in this area, they do see some slightly warmer temperatures compared to the ones up in this area. 6 degrees in Grand Prairie, while Slave Lake and Peace River are at 2 and 4. And the rest have reached past that minus point, so they have been cooling down quite a bit today. -5 in Fort McMurray, while High Level and Fort Chipewyan are slightly cooler at -8, -9. Now going over to our southern region now, they have cooled down as well, but are almost close to those double-digit temps in some spots. They were looking a lot cooler, almost even hitting a lot warmer yesterday, almost even hitting 20 degrees in some spots on the map. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat seeing the warmest at 7 and 9 degrees. 6 in Coronation, and the rest are seeing around 3. And now over on the Saskatchewan side here, they are seeing some slightly cooler temperatures. Yorkton is just hitting 0. 2 in Regina, while it is 4 in Estevan, 5 degrees in Moose Jaw and Kindersley, and Swift Current is just hitting 6 degrees. Now going back across the region and seeing what we will expect throughout the evening and throughout the night tonight. We will be cooling down quite a bit compared to what we were seeing the night before and the nights that we've been seeing throughout the week. We have been seeing some warmer evening lows, but now we are cooling down as we head more into the weekend. Provost will be seeing a low of -4, while Mernon will be seeing a low of -9. Unity and Wainwright will be seeing a low of -7, while the rest will be seeing those double-digit temps. Bonneville will be seeing a low of -10, while Paradise Hill, Pearson will be seeing a low of -11, and Isle Cross and Meadow Lake will be seeing the coolest with a low of -13, -14. So we will be cooling down quite a bit across the region for sure. Most spots will be seeing some clear skies, but other spots will be seeing some more clouds in sight and seeing a low chance of some freezing rain throughout the night. And now looking at temperatures tomorrow across the region, we will be seeing a cooler Friday for most spots, ranging from that 0 mark to -3. Even some spots might be warmed up, like Provost and Macklin will see 2 and 3 degrees, but we will be going to the minus areas for most spots across the region tomorrow. And then we will be taking a quick look at your 7-day forecast. We will be cooling down for the weekend with -4 tomorrow and -5 on Saturday, but we will warm things up starting off next week. That is another look at your weather forecast. Our Tate Laycraft Muhammad News coming up after the break.
I'm joined here now by author Meg Halfdahl. Now, for our viewers who may not know too much about you, I'll get you just to go a little bit into your background.
I am a writer. I am the author of novels. I have 3 novels. I have 3 short story collections. I am a podcaster, I'm a screenplay writer, but all of it focuses on what I call female driven suspense and horror. I love scary stuff, but I also love writing complicated female characters. So I also write nonfiction about horror films because I kind of have that bug to research, and I love, what, not only watching horror movies but learning more about them. So I have a whole series called Science of Series that I write as well. So that's what I do.
And where do you get a lot of your inspiration from for your horror writings or just, your writings and stuff in general?
Yeah, so well, I as a kid I absorbed so much horror. I loved it. I loved the films. I loved reading Stephen King or any horror writer. Um, but I kind of get it in everyday life, which sounds crazy because I write about, monsters and supernatural stuff. But I like to sort of start with a character that has an issue that, anyone might have, whether it be they're sort of struggling through motherhood, or they're struggling with, maybe an eating disorder, or they're addicted to something. And I like to sort of put them in these situations where they have to sink or swim. And I like watching characters on sort of like the worst day of their lives. Because horror stories is kind of, I mean, they're basically the worst thing that's going to happen to this character, right? So that's kind of what I like to do, experiment on them.
And you also have three different Twisted Reverie short story collection books. But just what can people expect if they are picking up this book? Is that kind of what you touched on again with the female driven suspense?
Yeah, so the first book, Twisted Reveries, it's all contemporary, so it all takes place, currently. There's a mix of psychological horror as well as supernatural horror. And then the second collection all takes place in a little town, a little fictional town in Minnesota, which is where I live. And then there's also the third book, which is my most recent one that came out. And that all takes place, I call them antique tales. They're sort of pre-World War II. So they all kind of take place then. And I love the short story form, especially in horror, because I feel like it's just a great way to sort of get to know these characters really quickly, throw them in these crazy situations, and play around with the supernatural, play around with maybe unlikable characters that you wouldn't want to read a whole novel about. And that's what Twisted Reveries is. And I've had great success with them. People really seem to like them. Sometimes they're compared to Twilight Zone. I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan. So I kind of like having those twist endings sometimes.
Yes, and speaking of the fan reception for just those Twisted Reverie books and just your books in general, what have you really heard from readers and fans?
Well, I love to hear that the characters resonate. Daphne, my main character in my novel series, I've had a lot of people be like, hey, that's like me. And that makes me feel good because there are aspects of her that are very much like me, which I think every writer kind of, writes themselves in a way, even if they don't want to admit it. And I've gotten such great feedback. When I'm compared to certain authors, obviously I try not to get too big of a head, but that's always great. And I always kind of remember those reviews. But yeah, people really seem to like the horror aspects, the character aspects, and I really like to sort of build a world that is exciting and thrilling, and of course, scary.
And now you also host a podcast called Horror Rewind. So what do you talk about on the podcast and what just made you want to start it?
Well, I do that with my best friend, and one of the things that we love that we, have had in common for so long is horror. So we started out wanting to just talk about the horror movies and shows that we watched when we were kids, and sort of if they still stand up today, like if they are still as good as we thought they were when we were 8 years old. And it turns out most of them are, but not all of them. So we kind of started with that, but now we're talking more contemporary horror movies and shows. We will watch things and then we just get together and talk. And it's kind of just two best friends talking. I mean, we happen to have written a whole series of books on horror movies. So I guess you could say, horror movie experts. But it's really just our opinions and kind of just throwing in some concepts here and there. But it's really more fun than anything.
And now if anyone is looking to listen to the podcast or just get any of your books, where is the best place to go?
Sure. So our podcast is anywhere and everywhere. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere you listen to your podcast. And we also have horrorrewind.com. You can go to meghofdahl.com, and that is all my information if you need to contact me, and as well as Amazon. That's where all my books are. And I know that several of my science books are at some Chapters stores and in Barnes and Noble here in the States. I was born and raised in Canada, and I love y'all.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Meg.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. I really appreciate it.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Speaking with us today for Primetime Local News is author Jalen Else, and we are speaking on her Descendants of Avalon series. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
We're glad to be able to have you on here. Now, what exactly is this series all about, just for people that may be unaware?
So it's about 4 friends. We start off in northern Minnesota, just kind of going about their daily life, and then they make this wish in a wishing well. And it ends up there is this evil wizard who is trying to break free from his prison. He wants to go back and take over the world, and he's using people's hopes and dreams to reforge Excalibur. He wants to cut his soul away using Excalibur so he can escape. So when they make their wish, they end up getting embroiled in kind of all the Avalon drama. And then one of their friends gets kidnapped by the minions of this wizard. So they go on this quest to rescue her, find their wishes, and prevent this wizard from escaping his prison. So it starts out there. And then throughout the series, it's really kind of this coming of age, building a friendship, finding the place you belong, even if it isn't a fantasy world, which I think we'd all love to just fit into, you know?
How has support been since the beginning of this trilogy has started being released?
It's been pretty well received. I've gone to different author shows and whatnot. It's been really fun just to talk about it because, I'll kind of say it's a mix of Narnia and Mists of Avalon. Granted, I haven't read Mist of Avalon because I don't want it to taint my own view of some of these characters, because we have some of the women from King Arthur's time in my book. And it's just fun talking to other people about kind of where they love to read, where they kind of fit in. And so it's just fun to be in that bookish element. And yeah, it's been really good. When I get a review that someone, gets what I'm trying to say or the emotions, it really means a lot as a writer. So I've been loving the experience.
Oh, this is a pretty fascinating idea. What exactly inspired you to do this for your writing?
It came about a while ago. It mostly focused on the wishing well, because I was like, well, there aren't really any stories about wishing wells and kind of a magic land beneath that. And then I'm a huge history nerd as well, especially like ancient history. And I'd written a couple novels that are set in ancient Egypt around King Tut's time. And that Arthurian element just kind of seemed to make sense, bringing some of those powerful women in, some of the descendants from Knights of the Round Table. And it really kind of started when I watched a movie, and there's like 2 females and 2 males. The males were having all the fun, all the magical fun, and the girls were like the tattletales, and they kind of ruined all the fun. And I'm like, you know what? I want to get this story going. I want to have more female characters who are silly, funny, make mistakes, tell the jokes, and have the fun. So that really was kind of my kick in the pants to get this finally out there and written. So
when exactly was this series finished and all the books were published?
I finished the trilogy last year, so that was really exciting, and also kind of like, sad, because it's like kind of saying goodbye to the characters. I think I may come back to it, but I did finish this trilogy, and I love where it's gone, and I'm really excited about book 3 because I threw in some ancient Egyptian afterlife lore as well, so pretty excited about that.
Is there now some future works you can let us know about, or your fans and everyone watching out there know about, that you have coming up here and you're working on?
Yeah, I'm actually working on a children's book, and I am writing and illustrating it. So right now I'm working on some of the drawings, I'm inking them, and then I'm going to color them. And it's about this lovely little elephant who wants to become a ballerina. And so she goes to her first ballet class, but as you can imagine in ballet, the shapes are very, very small and tiny. So it's really about finding that love of dance And it doesn't matter what you look like, how big you are, how tall you are. I just really wanted to express that love of dance. And so now I'm writing a children's book about it.
Oh, that sounds adorable. And for everybody, I guess, well, now they're excited about that children's book, but they're going to have to wait. But they're, interested in the Descendants of Avalon series. Can you kind of let us know where they can all access it and everything?
Yeah. Well, so I have a website. It's teasippingnerdymom.com because I also love tea and I'm also a nerd. Otherwise, you can find it on like mainstream, like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or you can go to inklingspublishing.com and they have just a great variety of books there as well. That's my publisher who I go through. So you can find it most anywhere. And, if you want to just connect with me through my website or any of my social media, I'm always excited to talk about books and Avalon and all that fun stuff.
Well, it's really great to hear how strong that support has been for you and how things have been going so far with your work. Once again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It was great to meet you. And hi, everyone. Happy reading.
Ending off with taking another quick look at your 7-day forecast. We will be seeing a little bit more of a cooler day tomorrow at -4, but hopefully that sun will start peeking more behind those clouds and we'll see sunnier day. Then Saturday for our weekend, we will cool down to -5, seeing a 80% chance of some flurries, but it will be some light snowfall, so that will melt down hopefully with next week, seeing some warmer temperatures. Then we will see that snowfall start off next week as well, and then see a little bit warmer temperatures on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Seeing 4 degrees on Tuesday, 7 on Wednesday, and 3 degrees next Thursday.
Man, a high of 7 degrees on Wednesday. That's pretty crazy. That right there, though, is all the time we have. So thank you very much to Shelby. And on behalf of all of us here, have a good night.